Hey there, darlings. Welcome to the Farmer's Table. My name is Jess. If you're new here, I'm so glad that you are here today. And if you're not new here, welcome back. I am glad you are here too. Tonight, I have a very special guest on my channel. My love. This is my son, Jackson. This is the boy that made me a mother. He did not plan on being here with us tonight. He planned on being back at his dorm. So tonight is his last night of Christmas break, and it is a bonus last night because we got snowed in today. So we're stuck at home in ice and snow, and we're gonna make the most of it and make some soft pretzels.
Yes.
Jackson has never been on this channel. But he has been on my original channel, Roots and Refuge. Not a lot in recent years. Kind of not been your thing.
She'll be like, "You want to be in the video?" I'm like,
nah. But there is a video on Roots and Refuge from many years ago. Actually, the day Jackson got home from his first day of 7th grade, we made soft pretzels and made a video then. So if you want to go check that out, I will put a link to it.
please don't.
And you can look at how much my baby has grown in these years. All right, brother, we are going to get started. We're following Sally's baking addiction recipe today, and it has actually been a while since we've made this. I don't think we've made soft pretzels.
It's been like a year or two.
Yeah, it's been a little bit. So we're gonna kind of go through the recipe, refresh it, share it with you guys, and share our process and some of the tips we've learned over the now, 10 years or so that we have made soft pretzels. First things first, we're going to mix the warm water and yeast in the bowl of the stand mixer where we're gonna mix these. If you're gonna make them by hand, you just use a big bowl. It's 1.5 cups warm water, or 360 milliliters, and 2.5 teaspoons of instant or active dry yeast. So a lot of times people get really hung up on what type of yeast you're using, whether it's instant or active dry. And the place it matters the most is if you're doing like an abbreviated process, like you're baking in a bread machine or something like that. But honestly, I use them pretty interchangeably. I couldn't tell you which one this is. It's just whatever they had in bulk at Costco. Oh, sorry, I was taking it from you. I thought you were done.
No.
Look at him measuring so exactly.
The water stuck to the other. It like pulled some into that. Like it's stuck in there.
Oh, just get your finger in there.
Oh. It's not sanitary.
Listen. All right.
I work at Sonic.
So whisk that together here with this.
Oh. Just that mixer's for other stuff.
Yeah, just.
I was about to say.
So he's just mixing that together, and then we're just gonna click the bowl into the mixer and let it sit for like a minute. It's gonna start bubbling pretty quick. Now, if your water's too hot, it will damage your yeast. And if in a minute, when it comes time to start adding other ingredients, you're not seeing any bubbles at all, then there may be an issue with your yeast. So we buy ours bulk, restaurant supply stores, Costco, Sam's Club, and then we go through it so fast. I actually don't keep this in the freezer. Years ago, when I didn't bake as much, I used to keep this in the freezer, which helps it stay fresh longer. Now we bake bread every day, so we get through our yeast pretty quick. He's gonna go ahead and melt the butter because we want to melt it and then let it cool down a little bit. All right, now we're gonna put into our started yeast 1 teaspoon of salt, tablespoon of sugar, and
then our butter.
Give that a little whisk. And we need to add 3 cups of flour slowly, 1 cup at a time. So you can actually just take this measuring cup out of the sugar. So we keep our flour in these really big containers that we get at the restaurant store. And the reason I like to do that is because when you're going to scoop flour, you can kind of fluff it up first to make sure that it's not packed.
We wait for the flour to mix before we add more so that it's not too much of this.
Yeah, because I don't want to dry down. That's right.
Smudge it.
Scraping it down. It's 3 3/4 cup flour. And then you can add a 1/4 cup more at a time if you need to. So we're gonna have 1 more addition before we start deciding if we need to tweak. Now once it starts coming together, we can turn the mixer up. When you have a lot of loose flour, you don't want to turn your mixer up too high because it paints your kitchen with flour. Okay, so we don't want our dough sticky, and you can kind of see that it is. So when you're mixing, okay, there's a good example. If it's clinging to the side, some things it doesn't matter, but on these, you really don't want your dough to be sticky like that. So we are gonna go ahead and add 1 more 1/4 cup of flour. This is a tad tricky because you don't want to do too much, but I think this will probably be just right. All right, so this is firmly come together in a dough ball. We can poke it and it kind of like springs back, you know, not fully, but some. Now we're going to run the mixer and knead this for 5 minutes.
I said, isn't this what they do with bagels?
Yes, yeah, same thing. With bagels, you boil them, which gives them a chewy exterior.
It's been a while since we've done this, so I kind of forgot, but I thought that was so weird because someone told me that the other day.
Yeah.
And now I get to do it.
Actually, traditionally, pretzels are made with lye, which is a very caustic. Obviously, when you're making soap with lye, you have to be super careful that you don't burn yourself. But we use baking soda because that's obviously a little more user friendly. All right, timer just went off. Now I can feel this dough and tell you that it's ready. You want to touch that dough?
Yeah.
But you can feel it gets really soft and supple whenever it's kneaded enough. Any dough does. But you can also do something called a window pane test. I was actually noticing that on this recipe, Sally's Baking Addiction shows this. That's an awesome website. I've been playing a lot with fresh milled flour. I didn't feel confident enough with it to try to make the pretzels, so we're just doing plain all-purpose flour. But you can do a window pane test with any dough to see if it's ready. And basically, when you are kneading any dough, you are engaging the gluten in a way that it can stretch instead of break. And here we have, basically you can take it and begin stretching it. But you want to be able to stretch your dough thin enough for light to come through without it breaking and tearing. So I'm kind of seeing here that's thin enough. If you're real new, you can take a bit and hold it up to a light so you can see the light actually coming through it. So while this rests on the counter for 10 minutes, we're going to get the baking soda bath ready. So I'm going to put 9 cups of water in a pot. You can use that blue pot right there. And we need 1/2 cup of baking soda. This one's almost empty, so I'll put another one here.
1/2 cup of baking soda?
There you go. We'll put that in and we'll bring that to a boil. So Jackson, of my children, I would say probably has shown the most interest in cooking over the years. It started when he was younger with baking. He had a real interest in baking, but you sort of went off that track.
Phased out of it. And he got very interested in cooking meat. He can cook a killer steak.
Yeah.
Very good at that. The other day, he sent me a picture of an omelet, and it looked amazing. And I was
I was bored. I was on like Instagram or something, and I saw like a video, and it was like 2 things you can make that are really fancy for someone that you promise to take somewhere nice, but you can't afford it. And one of them was this omelet, and I learned how to make it in like 20 minutes. But you whisk egg whites till they're fluffy, and then you separate the yolks. You add egg whites to the yolks and then mix them together, and then you cook them in the pan and flip it over, and you don't cook both sides, right?
Nice. Yeah. So he was just grabbing the mixer to mix the pretzel dough, and he's like, I should have used this to beat my egg whites. He did it by hand. He whipped egg whites by hand when we have all these gadgets, which is good for you. That's character building.
It was 3 eggs.
That omelet?
It was 3.
And what was the texture like?
It was just fluffy.
Super fluffy?
Like halfway through eating it, it shrunk in size.
Right, because it was full of air.
Yeah. But
was it good? Was it worth doing?
It was good. I used the hot sauce you gave me in my stockings.
I'm using these stoneware pans. On the recipe that we follow, she was saying to use silicone, but I don't think that's going to be necessary on stoneware. I'm going to go ahead and give it a spray just in case.
We are going to clarify some butter in the meantime, because what is a pretzel without its butter?
Good question. Clarifying butter removes all of the water and the milk solids And what you're left with is also called ghee, but clarified butter is shelf stable for one. Little different flavor than butter. I would say a more intense buttery flavor, so that's why it makes it nice for pretzels. I'm just putting this on. I start with the heat pretty high and then drop it down low to simmer, so kind of like medium to high heat. And once it really starts bubbling, we'll drop it down and skim the foam off as we go. And then whenever we go to pour it off or scoop it off, there will be some solids in the bottom of the pan that we'll just leave behind. I'm going to show you guys how to like roll out and shape pretzels. Jackson, as well as the other boys, actually prefer Pretzel Bites. Little personal history, my first job when I was a teenager was at the pretzel maker in the mall. I worked there all through high school for, I don't know, 2 years, which at the time was this very significant period of time.
Yeah,
it gets to be less whenever you get older. So we're gonna roll this out, but some of these ropes that we're making, we're gonna turn into Pretzel Bites, and I'll show you that too. A lot of recipes that you look up will tell you to like cut your dough into several different balls and then roll them out. I actually prefer this. Come on, muscles, you wanna do this? So we're gonna roll this out to be about this thick, about an inch, all the way across in a big rectangle. Because we are going to be making some pretzel bites, I'm not too concerned about this being like really rectangular. If you are trying to shape all of your pretzels into actual like nice uniform pretzel shapes, you're going to want to try to roll this a little more uniformly. But what we do here is cut this into ropes, and these are a lot easier to roll. Instead of taking balls and rolling, this is just easier to do. All right, so because we have, for the most part, made pretzel bites, I have not shaped a lot of pretzels in the last 20 years, but in the years before that, I think I shaped 20 years worth of pretzels, so let's see if I still got it. Let's see here. So you want to take it, twist like this, and then bring it back together for our lovely pretzel shape. I'm going to lay these out on this baking sheet. Now we're still going to boil them, but I'm going to go ahead. I'm going to do a few whole pretzels and then we'll do bites and use a strainer to boil those. You want to try one?
Yeah, sure. Just kind of tie it and put it together. That's so sad and tiny.
That's not. No, it's not.
Yeah,
you may need to roll that one out a little bit more because it's thicker.
Noticed. Is that right?
Mm-hmm.
Kind of pull it apart and then...
Nice. What do you think? You want the rest of these in bites?
Yes.
Now for the other pretzel bites, we're essentially just going to take the ropes, make sure they're nice and rolled, and then cut them. Alright, Jack's going to finish cutting the pretzel bites, and we are going to boil our pretzels. You only want to go for like 20 seconds on this. We don't want to boil them long because one, that's going to cook them more than we want. But I've read that can make the flavor go off. I like to do them one at a time. A little stopwatch so I can be aware of how much time. About halfway through, I want to flip these over. Okay. No, I'm going to bring this out, put it back on the baking sheet. Okay, so that quick bath in that really kind of changed the texture. And I'm going to go ahead and stick these in the preheated oven. Alright, 400 degree oven. This is going in for 12 to 15 minutes. And Jack is going to start boiling the pretzel bites by dropping them in a scoop at a time. Alright, so we're trying to get the liquid all off, and then we're going to put these on the sheet. You want to go ahead and do another batch?
Yeah.
So Auntie Anne's Mall Pretzels salt their pretzels before baking. Pretzel Maker, which I think Pretzel Maker closed. I don't even think it exists anymore. Shame, I know. They actually butter and salt their pretzels after baking, and so that's what we do. But if you wanted, you could put the salt on when you take them out of the bath. Yeah, that's great. Just put them over there and then we'll separate them. I am skimming the foam off of my butter to clarify it.
So is bagel dough the same or different as pretzel dough?
Similar but different. I mean, the truth is most doughs are pretty similar. It's different hydrations and different enrichments like eggs or milk or sugar. But I mean, it's all more or less the same stuff and the same science. So I actually ended up cooking these for about 20 minutes to get some golden color. They might could have gone even a little bit longer, but I was nervous. I don't know if that was because the stoneware or this oven's just not great.
I think it was the two different trays with different things.
Putting both trays in.
But,
all right.
I mean,
texture is pretty nice.
Yeah, no, it's got like a oh yeah, the back is where it
perfect.
shows.
Yeah. All right. So when I worked at Pretzel Maker, we had a massive vat of clarified butter, and we would take tongs and dunk the whole pretzel under.
That's gross.
That's not gross. That's
gross.
That's delightful.
No,
and
that's
I
gross.
would do it now, except for that would be completely excessive and expensive. We'll be moderate. We'll be moderate because this is real life. This actually probably will fit as far as just putting it on the front. Also, oh yeah, look at that.
This was her life's work at some point.
Don't make fun of me, child. Alright, so I have some pretzel salt here. I'll tell you all about this in a second. And we're going to sprinkle that on top. That is lovely. That is a work of art right there. I'm telling you.
Bite.
Alright, you want to try this one?
Yeah, I'll give it a shot.
Okay. It's still hot, so I'm just going to break off a bit with this. Let me show y'all the beautiful end product. Super soft and good.
Yeah, I'll take them all. I argue it's better than the mall, but, you know. The mall is more convenient. However, I know what I'm eating, so that's nice.
So I got this salt on Amazon. I ordered it so that we can make these because we talked about doing this on break.
That's good.
Very good.
I would make it again.
There's the pretzel bites. Flip those over, see what the bottom. Yeah, nice and golden on the bottom. Are you gonna do some cinnamon sugar?
I might give it a shot. Depends on if we have some made.
So you can also mix Parmesan cheese with garlic powder. Toss them in butter, the bites, or coat them with butter, and then do the Parmesan garlic on them, or cinnamon sugar, and then making cheese sauce is great with this. So, I think Jackson approves. The taste of home before we send you back to school for another semester. I keep talking to it right after he takes a bite.
Banished to eat the school hamburgers.
Back to the school food, that's right. Well, I know the boys are going to be glad that you made them this treat. They totally associate soft pretzels with you because that is something you got to think. That first video where you were in 7th grade, Benjamin was like 1 or 2, you know, he's just really little. And so yeah, it's their whole life. They remember you making these. So it's a good farewell. Thank you guys for hanging out with us today. If you've ever made soft pretzels and have any tips, or if you're going to try it, please let us know. We bless you. Until next time.